Welcome to another episode of the BMR NBA show. My name is Junior Browne. I'm joined by my guy, Jay Money. Hope you all are enjoying some leftovers after a nice turkey day. Even though I always enjoy making a little NFL money, I love NBA money even more. So glad to be back doing the show. I swear to God, bro, even when we don't do a show for one day, I'm always like, I wonder what Jay thinks about these games coming up or whatever. So I love doing the show, hearing you guys' opinions. Today it's just me and my guy, Jay. What's up with you, bro? How was Thanksgiving for you?
Hey, you know how it is. You can hit me up anytime, bro. I'm always here. It was good, man. Stayed in the house with my lady, with the dogs. We just chilled out, man. Small family for me, so it's an easy day. I don't have to deal with a lot of people. We're just chilling out at the house, man. It was a good day.
Good to hear. Yeah, I had a good day. Fell asleep during that Saints game. I'm sure Saints fans, Jesus Christ, it's looking rough over there. But no, this is about the NBA. We got a nice little slate today. No games to recap. I think my picks were, last time we had a show, I had Bulls first half, and I can't remember somebody else, Suns first half, I think. I don't know. Both my picks came through, though. Pretty sure, Jay, you hit the picks that you had as well.
Hell no. I had the Celtics. They got smacked, bro. So I was pissed as hell. Yeah, I think those were the first picks that I dropped on the show as far as like official picks. At the end, I think it was first one, but it happens, bro.
That's why I assumed that you hit your picks. Is your picks been coming through. I tailed a couple of them. You know what I'm saying? Because I really respect your opinion. So with that being said, let's get to this first game and try to cash some tickets. You guys gonna line up that game? Yeah, there we go. This is actually a game that I plan on watching. Two teams that are on the come up. And what I like about these teams, and I said this the other day on the show, is that I think I said this actually on one of these solo shows, because we usually, the last couple of years, Jay, we've had a 3-man panel. But since in the first couple of weeks it was just me and Jordan, when someone had to miss, you had to fly solo for 30 minutes just talking. I know you're used to doing it because you're an expert in this game, but that was a little rough for me. But I remember in one of those instances, I mentioned that variance in basketball, especially when it comes to defense, is like the opposite of football. What I mean by that is, and I'm just referencing this because NFL was on all day yesterday. The difference between the 15th defense and the worst defense is not that big. Like there's not that many good defenses in the NFL. You're really more relying on offensive metrics to say that a team is X or Y. I think in the NBA, as a capper, me personally, I rely way more on defensive metrics. Like a team that's gonna bring it night in, night out on defense. Because in football, it's not about effort. You only play defense or you only play offense. In basketball, you bring effort on one side or the other or both, depending on how you're built. And I feel like this matchup is a perfect example of that. Both of these teams, had moments where they were really struggling. They both had really long losing streaks at one point. And in the last, 8 to 10 games, they've both been able to get right, so to speak, by playing defense. Both of these teams in the last 2 weeks are top, I think, 5 or 6 in every defensive metric that you can think of. And when you look at the way that they're built, they're kind of, you would think that these are offensive teams. So I say all that to say I have a heavy lean to the under here. I think 226 is the right number under normal circumstances. But I think that, with these young coaches and these young rosters, I think that one, if not both, these teams are kind of keep buying into the fact that, listen, if we want to get to where we want to be, and that's past being mediocre, we got to lock down on defense. And I think that this game is going to be a little bit more low scoring than the market thinks. What do you got for us, Jay?
Yeah, if it's low scoring, in my opinion, that plays into the hands of the Timberwolves. Like, I lean the Timberwolves here. They've won 5 straight. They've covered 6 straight games, right? Don't look now. The Timberwolves balling. I mean, they had to do all this just to get back to 500, but they finally have a coach. They have a big three and D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, and Karl-Anthony Towns. They have some defenders over there. I know Patrick Beverley will be out tonight, but Jared Vanderbilt is actually a damn good defender. Like, I actually like the makeup of this Timberwolves team. Guys like Josh Okogie, that's just out there to be a sticky defender. You see what I'm saying? The Hornets, they just came off a game where they struggled versus the Magic. They kind of struggled versus the Wizards as well. Wizards don't look too good right now. They have won 7 out of their last 8 games and covered 7 out of their last 8 as well. So both teams are hot. The Timberwolves are on the road here. I would like to take the Timberwolves here. So look, a couple of huge injuries. No, Beverly's not huge for the Timberwolves, but he does take away some of their defensive abilities, what they may need against LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier. Like, I'd like for Beverley to get in LaMelo Ball's ear and get, like, that's just what Beverley does. But Plumlee's questionable here for the Hornets as well. They're starting center. They don't really have too much size over there for the Hornets. So if Plumlee's out, that could be a huge hit if you ask me. It's Timberwolves or nothing for me in this game. I think the Hornets will do the drop one, in my opinion. So it's Timberwolves or nothing.
Yeah, honestly, I think the Timberwolves are a live dog here, and they're worth a little money line sprinkle. That you're getting some pretty good odds with a team that's listen. They've got 3 legit scorers. The Hornets have a good team. They don't have 3 guys that could legitimately go off of 40. The Timberwolves have 3 because Anthony Edwards, his hops are amazing, and it's crazy to see the dunks that he's been able to already in his short career. He's got a lot of highlight dunks. But he's just a legitimate basketball player. He's got the perfect height, perfect size. He can shoot the 3. He can take you off the dribble. Like, his handles look like they got better since last season. And to me, the thing that puts me over the top with him, his demeanor is just right. He believes in himself. He knows he's legit. And just the way he talks in interviews, just the way he carries himself. He doesn't take himself too seriously. He's always laughing and joking around, but not on the court. He's not. On the court, he's all business. So I'm kind of all in on Anthony Edwards. Like, they could make some moves and just start building around him because he's already taken over the lead on that team. He's not even waiting his turn. He's just said, it is my turn, and that's just what it is. And I like that. So you definitely don't got to talk me into Minnesota on the money line here because, again, Charlotte's a good team. But how much better are they than Minnesota? I don't think the gap is that big. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I don't think it's that big, and I think that's what you're seeing as well with the line. Obviously, they're giving the Hornets a couple points here. Where they're laying a couple points because pretty much just because they're at the house. Game on a neutral site here, obviously, it's going to be like a pick 'em type game. But I think the Timberwolves are better. Obviously, they held out on the road here, like on the East Coast kind of sort of. But the Hornets' first game back at the house still after 3 games on the road. So when it's like 3 games or more on the road, I like to fade that team when they come back to the house. Just, Junior, real quick, I'd like to ask you something here because it's something that it could just be in my own head or some psychology, but we're all human beings, so I still like to look at things from a psychology standpoint. What do you think about fading? I think like the home teams, we may want to find some spots with some teams on the road, right? Because teams at the house, they just had Thanksgiving dinner with their families, probably had cousins, aunts, uncles, all it over. Like, you might have a few drinks, all that. You're at the house, you're super comfortable, maybe a little bit too comfortable. I feel like the road teams may be a little bit more focused today. I guess that's like the easiest way to say it.
Yeah, and that does make sense because if you think about it, these guys are in hotels, right? So they're not, even if they're with their family, they're not at home.
Exactly.
It's at the end of dinner, your wife and kids or whoever, they got to go about their business and you go back to the team hotel. You guys are not staying together. So it's a whole different environment. I think that Jay has a very valid point that these guys that are just forced to stick in the team environment, they might be a little bit more focused. Now, Are we going to say that makes a difference for the Jazz Pelicans? I don't think so. But when the margin is this close between the teams, or one team is not clearly better than the other, I think that Jay has a valid point that the Hornets might have enjoyed a little home cooking a little too much, because no matter what, they're still a super young team, and to think that there's a possibility that they lose focus is not crazy at all. So I love that look by Jay Money, which is why I love doing this show.
Real quick, Junior, and that's exactly what I'm saying. It's not necessarily just this game, but really as a large scale with exacted games like that, Jazz versus Pelicans, Clippers versus Pistons, where you have the team that's laying a bunch of points. So it's crazy to say, but I actually kind of like those even more. The fact that that the home team is laying so many points that you have to cover, right? Like that's even more sense, because you're going up against an uninspired opponent, and the sorry team probably come in here like, hey, look, let's try to catch these guys looking. So I'm not on the Pelicans, but they come in really goes for the whole board, not necessarily just the closer games.
It's definitely something to factor in when you're capping, because, I just think that, and just because we're talking about that game, I just think that I mentioned that game specifically because the Jazz are a team of just like professionals. But the spread does make your point valid, because even without that factor, I wouldn't really be willing to lay that many points. The Pelicans, they're just better than they were a couple weeks ago. They're not good.
Yeah.
But they've shown like a little bit of life. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, let's get to the next game. Yeah, so we don't fall behind here. But we're just talking basketball. That's what we do. That's what this show is about. You know what I'm saying? So what Jay's doing is giving you guys expert capper tips, things that you guys might not think about. The same way somebody might tell you that betting on these Thursday night games, like I know obviously it was a Thanksgiving, but Thursday night football is just a horrible spot to bet on. So every sport has these little weird quirks. Soccer's got Champions League and internationals to think about. As a capper, it's more than just X's and O's and spreads and all that. There's all kinds of things to factor in. This game tonight at Madison Square Garden, Knicks hosting the Suns. The Suns have been kind of struggling ATS recently, even though they've won 14 games in a row. I actually have an official play on this game. I have the under for a couple of different reasons. I just think that I mean, I don't want to just keep saying the same thing over and over, so I'm not going to be long-winded about this. The Knicks can't keep playing this way and be successful. Now, I have seen improvement in their defense recently, so that's another reason why I'm on the under 216. Phoenix is going to come here and they're going to bring a defensive effort. They're a top 3 team in defensive efficiency. The Knicks are still 16th, which to me is too low for them to be a playoff team. But literally, like at the beginning of this week, they were like in the mid-20s. So the defense is ramping up as their offense continues to slide, which is another reason I'm on the under. Their offense is getting worse with every passing game. I still think they're over-reliant on threes. I understand why they shoot more threes, and it's working for them because they're shooting a really high percentage. I just don't think that this specific roster can keep up that pace. And I think that for the Phoenix Suns, if that's how the Knicks are going to choose to play, it's way easier for them to defend. I mean, I like the under regardless, but I just think that in this specific spot here, I can't keep going to the well with Phoenix. They're not even covering spreads on a regular basis anymore anyways. They are winning games outright, but I think that the key to success for both teams is defense, and I don't believe in this Knicks offense at all. That's just me. Jay, what you got?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I understand it. So the Suns on a 13-game win streak. They're only 1-5. 14-game win streak. They're only 1-5 against the spread the last 6. So they are obviously the much better team. I like the way they're obviously more put together as far as more well balanced offensively and defensively. So like you say, if they bring that defense, which they always do, that's the Suns. They just play hard nosed. I think that they'll win this game and drop the one tomorrow versus the Nets. So it's the Suns the only way I look in this one. Obviously, they're just laying 3.5. It seems like a short spread, but the Knicks, they have a deep team, but you said they're not playing defense. That's the difference from last year and this year. They were playing a lot better defense last year. They can win. You can win games with your defense because your offense can build off of that. When you're just worried about offense, you're not paying attention to defense. Then you get down. You get down by double digits. You can't come back. So I like guys like Quickly, Burks. These guys play hard every game. D Rose, but Kemba Walker and Fournier, those are the ones. Those are the X factors to me, and they're just so up and down. That's why it's tough what to do with Knicks games. There's like 5 or 6 teams to me this year that they're so up and down that I just have to stay away from their game. So lean Suns, that's the only way I could look in this one, my guy.
Yeah, my official play, like I said, under 216. I think it's a lot in this spot. I think the Knicks struggle to get to 100 points with the Suns' defensive effort. And DeAndre Ayton, when he first came into the league and I would watch him on defense, he looked confused. He kind of didn't understand rotations. He didn't excel the way that I thought he would, like after watching him in college. He's really, really gotten way better on defense. It's funny, their offensive numbers with him on the court, they're actually pretty bad. He makes them worse offensively somehow, but obviously it's a small sample size still. But his defensive metrics make up for that. Like, I don't even usually talk about like defensive win shares and offensive win shares and all that, but he's over like just in terms of win shares, he's very, very close to Chris Paul right now. And we know what Chris Paul does on both ends of the court for his teams. So just the fact that DeAndre Ayton's shown that improvement, I think is one of the main reasons why they're third in the league defensively. On top of the fact that all of their guys, we talk about this all the time, just play hard every single game. So with that being said, let's move on to the next one. I actually going to throw it to Jay for this next one because I need help understanding this line. It seems kind of short. If we're just going by what we've been seeing recently between the Bucks and the Nuggets, I want Jay's opinion on that game because I'm not going to say the number seems short because it's over one possession. 3.5 is still a tough number on the road. It's definitely a key number, but Milwaukee seems like they're getting things right, whereas Denver, they're just in a really rough spot. Their 3 best players are not available. What team is going to be successful if their 3 best players can't play? So, do you agree with this number?
Yeah, Bucks versus Nuggets. Line open up at 3. It's up to 3.5. I mean, sometimes this is the thing about the NBA, right? And that's the thing. So the numbers can be a little bit shaded one way or another. You always have to look at the situation. You look at the Bucks numbers; they're supposed to look good. They just played 5 straight games at the house. Like I say, it's just something I'm starting to figure out. Obviously, more NBA games, more knowledge, more wisdom we're going to get. Just something I'm starting to figure out. When teams at the house, they've been hot, right? Then when they go on the road, it's an environmental shift. It's not necessarily the same. You're not playing in front of your home crowd on the same goals with the same sight lines. Like, there's just some basketball terminology there. The Nuggets, I think the books know that the Jokic is likely to come back. In the last game, before pregame, he's shooting around, making threes and everything. It's his right wrist, the one he shoots with. So like he was in a ton of pain. He really wanted to play. The coaches and the staff wouldn't let him, medical staff. I think Jokic was good to play the last game. They just didn't play. We got 2 total polar opposites here. The Bucks have won 5 straight. The Nuggets have lost 5 straight. I think this is one of those home teams where I'd be looking it back. My system tells me to take the Nuggets here first quarter, first half, betting against that road team that's heading out on the road in a while. I know the Bucks are in better form in theory, but first game in a while on the road, and you have to play in Denver. I can see the Nuggets covering this one. I can see it being a trifecta spot. So that's why the line is so low. And you're right. This is one of those games where I used to be like, hey, what the hell is going on? Bucks easy. It's Nuggets or nothing for me here. I actually may fire up some spicy Nuggets today. It's the only way I could look in this game.
Yeah, it's funny because I had some spicy nuggets 2 days ago, and I thought about you because that's just always makes me laugh. But in this specific spot, I thought to myself, this number looks wrong. And whenever I think to myself, this number looks wrong, it's either I got to jump all over it, obviously, or I'm like, it's suspicious. There's something suspicious about this line, and this one falls into the category suspicious. Jay's right. I don't know if I would go as far as trifecta spot. I don't know if I could jump on that one, but you don't need me to jump on it, right? Like I do agree that first of all, the Bucks are not the same team in this respect. When the Bucks were making their come up, like when they were trying to get to the point where they could win a title, they were like blowing teams out at a ridiculous rate. Like their margin of victory like 2 years ago was one of the highest in NBA history. Their margin of victory this year, they're only winning games by like 2.5 points. So now when you're asking them to go and win by 3.5 points on the road, that's just not a given. You can't look at it that way. like Jay said, we still only have a really small sample size, right? So the more games go by, the more information you can gather. And the information that I've gathered so far is that the Bucks are still trying to figure things out. They're certainly not the team that they were the last 2 years that's just going in and just blowing the door off of teams. They're figuring out ways to win because obviously, as with any championship team, the only thing that matters to them is the playoffs. They're just trying to get to the playoffs and be healthy for that. You know what I'm saying? Taking care of teams in the regular season and blowing them out the way they used to when they were on their come up, that's just not the reality for them. So if I'm ever touching just an overall statement, if I'm ever gonna lay points with the Bucks on the road, it ain't gonna be over 3 points. Like it's just not possible for me right now because overall they're not even covering 3, let alone on the road. So with that said, I got nothing on this game. Not even a lean. It'll be interesting to see if Jokic comes back, what difference that makes for the Nuggets. As a matter of fact, if you like the Nuggets, you're getting them at a really, really cheap price if Jokic is going to play. So you might want to jump on that sooner rather than later. Next game up, I would like to say it's an interesting one, but it doesn't really interest me that much because I ain't going to watch it. But in terms of from a capper standpoint, the Pelicans are showing something. What that something is, I don't know. But it's something better than what we saw in the first couple of games. In the first couple of games, they actually look hopeless. The thing that concerns me, Jay, and I'm going to be honest with you, taking the points in this situation, the Pelicans' offense is not good. It's just not. It's completely unreliable. And until I see them play defense for like a sustained period, they've been better. They've been getting better, but they're still not good. So I just think that because I can't rely, not only can I not rely on their defense, which is how I kind of like this, what I like to be my jump off point, their offense sucks. Like when I watch them play, scoring baskets is a struggle. And that fits right into the Jazz's wheelhouse. I can see them getting smacked the F up in this game. Talk me out of it, Jay. What you got?
Yeah, anything can happen. I won't be long-winded. We only have like 7 minutes to go. We got 3 more games. I'd only look towards the Pelicans here. It's not an inspiring game for me. Obviously, the Jazz are coming off a home win, but I'm not looking towards laying double digits with the home teams in uninspiring games the day after Thanksgiving. So it's Pelicans are nothing for me here. They defend the 3-point line, and that's what you need to do to beat the Jazz. So I could see a look-ahead spot here. Obviously, there's scenarios where Jazz could smack them up. They're supposed to, but it's Pelicans or nothing for me.
Do have a valid point with them defending the 3-point line. That's actually where they've improved because they weren't really doing that in the beginning of the season. Teams are still making a good percentage of threes against them, but that, again, variance is like one of those things. You could look back to that stat in 10 games, and it could be all the way the other way. They are doing a good job of getting to the line and making their free throws. So they're doing like the little things that you need to be successful. I just don't like the fact that A, they're still in the bottom 5 in terms of turnovers, which I think against the Jazz is a recipe for disaster. And B, they foul a lot. They just don't defend without fouling. I don't trust teams that just foul a ton. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just like that's also a recipe for disaster. So this is just a complete stay away from me. Next game up, we got a pretty interesting one, actually, because the Blazers have been playing better basketball, to say the least. Chauncey Billups actually might be for real as the head coach, which is nice to see. Big Shot. Mr. Big Shot was a heck of a player in his day. That being said, my lean in this game is not with the points. It's actually on the total. I actually really like the over. I know Golden State's the best defensive team in the league, but what Portland is doing on offense, it's for real. And they have, even though they have a different philosophy, their main actors, for lack of a better term, CJ and Dame, they're playing their role, bro. They just know how to get the job done. You know that they're going to be fired up to play the Warriors because it's not like a big time rivalry, but it's a rivalry. Like, there's no way that this is not a rivalry. So I think that this is going to be an up and down game, and I think it'll sneak over that total. What you got, Jay?
Yeah, this is a big game for the Blazers. Obviously, a measuring stick. They're not a good team on the road. If they're obviously a terrible team. They just lost to the Kings as well, so it could have been a look-ahead game. Like I say, any team could get up. This is like a Super Bowl for the Blazers. They could possibly be the more focused team here. I'm not betting against the Warriors right now. The way that they look, obviously the best team in the league, best defensive team in the league as well. But I could see the public getting their money taken here. So even though I'm not betting against the Warriors, I see scenarios where the Blazers do match up well versus them. I'm staying off of this one though.
Yeah, same thing for me. Like I said, my lean is to the over. I think that this number is pretty sharp, but I do think that in this specific matchup, it's not like the Warriors have a problem playing up and down just because they're a solid defensive team. They can play any style with anyone, anywhere, anyhow. So they tend to play fast. They're sixth in the league in pace. And I think that as the better team, as the home team, they're probably going to control the pace. And again, the Blazers have no problem with that. So I can see a pretty high scoring game in this one. We got one more left. The Kings and the Lakers. I'll let Jay start this one off. I mean, me personally, I don't understand. I just don't understand laying this many points with the Lakers right now. I know that with LeBron back, you're talking about the ceiling being a completely different story. But like, I'm a type of guy. I think me and Jay have this in common. When I was watching LeBron, I haven't seen LeBron do his celebration in a long time, and obviously, I think the fan heckling him had a lot to do with his demeanor and all that, but the fact that they look that excited about beating a pretty mediocre Pacers team in overtime, it doesn't convince me that I should be laying over 2 possessions with this team. Jay, talk me out of this.
Yeah, no, it's Kings or nothing for me here. Rashawn Holmes and Harrison Barnes are 2 huge injuries for the Kings here, but I don't bet on teams, especially laying points when they come back to the house after a 5-game road trip, especially when they're a West Coast team and they were just on the East Coast for about 10 days. So this is a phase spot for me, for the Lakers, if you ask me. LeBron and AD will be playing, but it's Kings or nothing for it. That's the only way I'd look. It's a bet against spot for the Lakers for me. I'd be looking towards the Kings in this one.
If Harrison Barnes was playing, I would take the points of the Kings. I know obviously the line would be different, but Harrison Barnes is not moving the line more than like a half a point. Do you disagree with that? Harrison Barnes is not moving a line a full point. Right?
He should. He should. He means that much to the team. He should move it.
I 100% agree with you with that. But so even if he moved the line a full point, but I'm just saying, because even superstars don't move the line more than a couple points. So let's just be generous and say he moves the line a full point. I'm taking 6.5 with the Kings of Harrison Barnes. Yeah.
We don't have much time, but they moved the line 6.5 points earlier this year when LeBron was ruled out. I think it was absurd. There's no way in hell, but they did that. 6.5 points, man.
Yeah,
so we only got 40 seconds.
Yeah, so I don't have anything to say about that. Let's run through our picks and get these beautiful folks out of here. I got the under in that Suns-Knicks game, and I got the Bulls first quarter -2.5. What you got, Jay?
Bulls first quarter -3 for me. Bulls first half -4.5. Heavy lean to Pacers with double revenge. Heavy lean to the Nuggets tonight. Heavy lean to the Kings as well. Kings, Pelicans, and Pistons. All those road dogs. Heavy lean to those, my guys. Let's cash.
Love it that my guy Jay's on the Bulls with me. Thank you for joining us as always. Please make sure to check out the BMR for all the articles, all the picks. Like, share, subscribe. Don't be greedy. Let's cash these tickets together. Love doing the show with you, Jay. Same time, same place Monday. We appreciate y'all.